Oh my God, I just swallowed my saliva and I am fasting. SubhanAllah!
Ramadan is a sacred month that brings us closer to Almighty Allah, and many of us have questions that arise during our fasts. Questions like, what breaks my fast? Can I do this? What if I accidentally eat or drink something? These questions can leave us confused, anxious, or unsure of how to protect our fasts. But the beauty of Ramadan is that it's simple at its core. The rules are clear. So today, let's break it down and answer these questions once and for all. There are 7 things that directly break your fast, and we'll discuss each one of them in detail. But beyond just fasting from food, Ramadan is about building discipline, connection, and purification. And before we jump into the technicalities, let us take a moment to reflect on the spiritual aspect of this blessed month. Ramadan is not merely about staying hungry for hours. It's a divine invitation from Allah, a call to reconnect. Every day of this month is a chance to cleanse our hearts, purify our souls, and align ourselves with Allah's will. Every day, He whispers, "Come back to me." And we should not take this for granted. This month could be your last. This could be your final Ramadan. So let this reminder sink deep. Number 1, thing that break your fast is eating and drinking. The first and most obvious thing that breaks your fast is eating or drinking intentionally. Anything that enters your stomach through the mouth or nose nullifies the fast. That includes food, water, juice, anything that sustains your body. Even swallowing something that's not food can break it, like swallowing a pill or any substance that provides nutrition. Now, fasting is not about hunger, it's about obedience. When you stop eating, you're telling your body, for the sake of Allah, I am in control. It's an act of surrender, acknowledging that Allah comes first, above all desires. Now, you might ask, what if it happens by accident? This is crucial. If you eat or drink unintentionally, your fast is not broken. Allah is merciful, and He knows your heart. But let's be clear, unintentional means you didn't plan to do it, and it happened without your will or desire. This brings us to a very important point. We cannot fool Allah. If someone intentionally eats or drinks and then claims, "Oh, it was by accident," that's not acceptable. Allah knows the intention behind every action. So if it happens unintentionally, continue your fast, ask for Allah's forgiveness, and move on. But don't try to deceive Allah. Number 2 is anything that replaces food. The second thing that breaks the fast is anything that replaces food and drink. This includes things like intravenous nutrition, glucose, or any substance that nourishes you and keeps you going without eating. This will nullify the fast, as it is the equivalent of eating or drinking. But there's some good news. Injections or medicines that don't nourish the body, like insulin or painkillers, do not break your fast. Even anesthesia for dental work doesn't break it, as long as it doesn't provide nutrition. Remember, Allah is merciful and doesn't burden us with confusion, so we should be clear on what breaks it and what doesn't. Number 3 is intentionally vomiting. Yes, when you vomit intentionally, if you force yourself to vomit on purpose, your fast is broken. This is a very clear and direct rule. But what if you vomit by accident or due to illness? Your fast is still valid. Allah knows our intentions and judges accordingly. If you're sick and you throw up, it's not your fault, and your fast remains intact. However, if you intentionally make yourself vomit, you're disregarding the purpose of fasting, which is to restrain the body and soul for the sake of Allah. Number 4 is cupping and donating large amount of blood. Cupping is a form of traditional healing practiced by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. While cupping is encouraged for medical purposes, it is safer to avoid during fasting. Cupping and donating large amounts of blood can weaken the body and therefore break your fast. However, if you are donating small amounts of blood for medical tests or have minor bleeding like at the dentist, that does not break your fast. Islam is about ease, not burden. But if blood donation makes you feel weak, it's best to wait until after iftar. The fifth is ejaculation while one is awake. That is the ejaculation caused intentionally through actions like touching or fantasizing. If this happens during the day, your fast is broken. However, if it occurs while you sleep, such as through a wet dream, your fast remains valid. Allah understands what we cannot control, and there is no sin in what happens during sleep. The sixth thing that breaks your fast is intercourse. This is the most serious of all actions that nullifies the fast, and it requires both expiation, a penalty, and making up the fast later. However, it's important to note that intercourse is only permissible within marriage, with your lawful spouse. Engaging in intercourse with someone you're not married to is haram in Islam, and this holds true whether you are fasting or not. When we speak about breaking the fast through intercourse, we are referring specifically to the lawful, halal relationship between husband and wife during the daylight hours of fasting. Allah has given us clear boundaries in our relationships, and this is one of them. Any action that goes against these boundaries is not just a break in the fast, but a serious violation of Islamic law. But what about outside of Ramadan? Intercourse with anyone outside of your lawful partner, whether you're fasting or not, is still haram. It's critical to remember that the concept of halal and haram in relationships doesn't change with the fasting hours. It remains consistent. You cannot use the excuse of fasting or not fasting to justify anything that Allah has forbidden. It is also important to recognize that while intercourse with your lawful spouse breaks your fast, it does not break the sanctity of your relationship. Within marriage, sexual intimacy is not just allowed, it's encouraged when done with respect, love, and in accordance with Allah's guidance. The spiritual significance of this, Ramadan in its essence, is not just about restraining from food and drink. It's about disciplining your body, controlling your desires, and being mindful of your relationship with Allah. Intercourse is one of the most intimate acts that humans experience, and its proper place is within the boundaries of marriage. It should be done in respect, love, and with the intention of strengthening the bond between husband and wife. It's an act of worship when done in the right context. But during the daylight hours of fasting, even this lawful and beautiful act is restricted to maintain the sanctity of the fast. Once iftar comes and the fast is broken, it's allowed again. But until then, we must control our desires as an act of obedience and submission to Allah. The seventh thing that breaks the fast is menstruation or postnatal bleeding. If either begins even a second before Maghrib, sunset, your fast is broken, and it's invalid. There's no need for guilt or shame here. This is Allah's decree. You simply make up the fast later, and it's as though you never missed it. This rule applies to all women who experience menstruation or postnatal bleeding, and it's essential to understand that this is Allah's mercy. You don't need to feel burdened by this. Now, let's talk about things people often worry about, like toothpaste, injections, medical procedures, and even certain types of food. Here's the good news. As long as nothing reaches your throat, none of these things break your fast. A small amount of toothpaste, for example, won't break your fast, as long as you're not swallowing it. Medical procedures that do not involve food or drink are safe too, but it's important to always listen carefully and protect your fast. Protecting your fast isn't just about avoiding these 7 things. It's about protecting your heart, your tongue, your eyes, and your intentions during this month. So, fasting is not just about abstaining from food and drink. It's about training your soul to stay away from disobedience. It's about making sacrifices for the sake of Allah and strengthening your relationship with Him. This Ramadan, let it be a time of purification, where you not only restrain yourself physically, but also from the temptations of the heart. Remember, fasting is about humility and submission. It's a reminder that Allah's commands come first, and everything else is secondary. Let Ramadan teach you patience, discipline, and how to focus on what truly matters. So, as we fast, we not only protect our stomachs, but also protect our hearts and souls. The purpose of this fast is not just to refrain from eating, it's to purify ourselves, renew our connection to Allah, and prepare for a better future in this world and the hereafter. May Allah accept our fasts, our prayers, and our acts of worship. May He purify our hearts and grant us the strength to stay true to His guidance. Ameen. Thank you for watching, and I pray that this video helps you understand the essentials of fasting during Ramadan and that you are able to protect your fast and strengthen your connection with Allah. If you found this video helpful, please take a moment to like and share it with your friends and family so that we can all benefit together during this blessed month. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insightful content on Ramadan, Islamic teachings, and how to live a life of faith and discipline. If you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear how you protect your fast and any tips you have to share with the community. May Allah accept our fasts and forgive us. Ameen.